Kaiser, this flora, this is Lazarus plant, isn't it?
Confirmed.
You know, no one even realized it was a living thing until someone got it under a microscope and saw it had cells. Can't be cultivated anywhere but Londinian. A real marvel. Leeches. What's keeping you things warm? What's that? My God, look at it. A Lazarus in bloom. You know, we might be some of the only... What's happening? Captain, have you seen this? Are terramorphs.
What? Those little nuisances can do that? Holy mother.
You just saw that, right? You would tell me if I was losing my mind. That heat leech became a terramorph. The pests that have snuck onto every planet are baby terramorphs. Heat leeches hide out in ships, sneak away after landing, and then with time, they transform. We just found out how terramorphs move between planets.
What does this mean for the plan to clean up the terramorphs?
That I don't have an answer for right now. But if they share a genome, like most nymphs and adults do, the microbe should have no problem dealing with heat leeches and terramorphs. The Aciles we'll have to look into. But given what we know about the creatures, I wouldn't be shocked to find that they've got an appetite for both.
What we just witnessed, that can't be how all terramorphs were born, right?
No, Lazarus plants can't grow anywhere but here, let alone blossom. People have tried. Plus, if what we just witnessed was happening anywhere else, well, it wouldn't just be Londinian lost to these things. What we just saw, it must be some kind of alternate growth method, one that winnows 70 years of maturation into seconds. It's incredible.
Nothing natural should be able to do that.
I am sincerely inclined to agree, but current evidence suggests nature manages it just fine. The Lazarus plant. It's clearly an accelerant for the terramorph, a heat leech transformation process. Make one into the other in an instant. But that means if anyone knew about this, they could trigger a terramorph spawning. You could sneak a leech into a city, or even multiple leeches, into a place like New Atlantis. Good God. The attack on New Atlantis, could someone have set that up?
Given what we just witnessed, it's certainly plausible.
But first, you'd have to know the truth about all this.
Well, we're never gonna know if you don't catch that thing. Get after it. We may proceed. Go!
Oh. Okay.
Kaiser's got the cell data from the New Atlantis and Tau Ceti attacks, right?
Uploaded them myself.
Captain, let Kaiser take a look at that cell.
Beginning analysis. It is a match. This suggests with high certainty that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attacks on both planets.
There's no way a plant this rare, this fragile, just shows up here, New Atlantis, and Tau Ceti. The transformations on those worlds, they must have been triggered by human hands. Captain, do you understand what it is we just stumbled on here?
I think it means that the Lazarus plant was used to trigger the attack on New Atlantis.
Exactly. Someone saw the Lazarus plant in action and used it to trigger the attacks.
Using implements of nature as weapons of war. Where have I heard that before?
Our Xenoweapons group never dealt with anything like this, though they probably would have liked to. No, whoever found this, they likely never expected they'd get caught. Makes some sense, actually. Tau Ceti was likely their first test, someplace remote where no one would question a few settlers going missing. Ensure the big show, the attack on New Atlantis, would be a success. And the timing of that one, it couldn't have been just luck that it happened right when we were asking the cabinet to do something about the Terramorphs. These attacks, I think someone planned them to set all this in motion.
But didn't you say this plant can't grow anywhere but here?
It can't. At least, I didn't think it could. But maybe if we're right about this, someone found a way.
I thought the timings of those Terramorphs showing up was suspicious.
They certainly were. But having this answer, well, it raises a couple big questions. Who could pull something like this off? And why?
I got some ideas, but it's far from responsible to just start hurling accusations.
Let's save the discussion for when you all aren't standing in the universe's closest equivalent to hell frozen over. If we're gonna do anything to prevent more Terramorph attacks, human caused or otherwise, we need that final sample.
Roger that. Kaiser, get us into the spaceport?
The entrance is this way. Sufficient power to the lock mechanism.
Anyone got ideas where we could get some extra juice?
Local power looks like it was controlled in the security office. Upper floor.
Captain and I can scout it out. Kaiser, see if you can't find another way to get it open.
Roger that. I have restored power to the office entrance. You may proceed.
Seriously handy with those locks.
Freaking Aurora.
There's the control panel. Still looks operable. All the things to survive.
restored.
Back in business.
Warning. Emergency recorder message detected. Transcription process engaged. Playback initiated.
Admiral Senor, we need to make the evacuation request.
That's my father he's addressing. He was here? Didn't think he'd have the guts to look those soldiers in the eye before blowing this place to pieces.
Admiral! It just... formed. An invisible weapon. No planet would be safe. Colonel, the troops that closed off the sewers after my evaluation, they're all in this facility. Other than our casualties? Yes, sir. Good. Get them into defensive positions around the spaceport. No one leaves. They'll send ships as soon as possible. Thank God. None of us wanted to go down swarmed by those things. That won't be your fate, Colonel. You have my word.
Transcription complete. Physical copy available.
An invisible weapon. He knew. He knew about the Lazarus plant. Grab that recording. We should talk. Hey, Victus. He destroyed this place. Killed these people to keep what he knew about the Lazarus plant and the terramorphs and all this a secret. Didn't he?
That's certainly how I interpret it.
He saw the potential of the plant as a weapon and hid it away. He killed those people. Condemned this city to keep them from sharing what they might have seen. He was
Someone who thought keeping the secret would save lives.
No way that justifies slaughtering his own troops. Way to go, UC. Classy as always.
a calculated loss. These soldiers for the rest of the galaxy. That sounds exactly like what my father would do. But it doesn't, it can't justify slaughter. But I guess that's just another part of his sick legacy now. He thought he was protecting us all, taking the secret to his grave. Only he didn't succeed. Now someone else knows about the Lazarus plant and is using it exactly how he feared.
Listen, we should get moving. We got a lot of work to do.
Right. Settled systems are counting on us. Kaiser, try it now.
Guys, your sample, it moved. I'd be real careful out there if I were you.
That doesn't sound good. Eyes peeled.
sample from that.
Final sample secure.
Oh hell, let's do it.
Final sample secure.
On it. See you soon.
Let's grab that sample and get out of here.
You seriously didn't get attacked by more of those things?
Look at all of you. Back from the underworld. Got pretty frantic on the comms towards the end there. But it sounded like this was a success. Got everything we need to put this plan in motion.
Is the plan still going to work now that we've cleaned up the heat leeches and terramorphs?
Can't be positive until we run some tests. But knowing that the terramorphs have been masquerading as heat leeches all this time is a big find. Arguably makes things more feasible, now that we know what we're dealing with, not less.
Agreed. Plus, I don't think you're gonna have to push real hard to get folks on board with cleaning up one of the galaxy's greatest pests if this is what they're capable of.
But none of that's getting done without the samples. You do have them, right?
Sure did. Kaiser's got all the sample in storage.
Ah, best place for them. Now, my connection might have gotten a bit fuzzy there, but do I have it right that Bay Victus knew about this damn plant?
That's what it sounded like.
Guess the old Admiral must have told someone what he learned. Even he's not clever enough to pull off an attack like that from the great beyond.
Plenty of suspects, that's for sure.
That's putting it lightly.
But it's clear someone knows about the plant and realized what ends it could be put towards. Captain, we need to get these samples back to the lab and verify we'll be able to handle cleaning up the leeches as well as the terramorphs. But in the interim, do you think you could look into what we uncovered? See if you can turn up any information on who might have committed the attacks?
If it were me, I'd start at the scene of the crime, New Atlantis.
Oh, I've already got some ideas who could be involved.
Perfect. Once you've finished your investigation, we'll meet you outside the cabinet chambers. They're gonna want to hear this. Take care of yourself. No telling who might be involved.
Visiting a Londinian has left me. The longing for need.
Hey, you dropped it.
I did not think
Wait,
this
you meant to
was
do that?
possible.
Yes.
Anything. I can help you with?
I asked my boss what they're doing.
You'll be scanned as you enter the city.
Yes.
I'd be a lot more used to you out in the field.
Been up there, huh? Space? Must be cool.
It's always a great day here in...
Wait, you're on the one... You're coming with...
Security protocols engaged. Please do not interfere with my duties.
Authorized personnel movement. Your friend has to stay here.
Well, what a pleasant surprise. When I heard you and Hadrian were headed for Londinian of all places, I presumed you must be onto something big. Did you find what you were looking for?
Oh no. Is there anything you want to tell me about your time in Londinian?
I haven't been to Londinian in many years. Why? Is there some way I could be of assistance? Were you able to recover what you were looking for?
Oh, we did, and a whole lot more.
Good news, then. So, what exactly are you doing here? Plenty still to be done in defeating the Terramorphs, no?
We found a recording of you discussing the use of Terramorphs as a weapon.
Did you? Well, I don't know what you think you heard on this recording, but I sincerely hope you didn't come to the wrong conclusions. After all, given the Cabinet's current state of anxiety, they might misinterpret such a discovery to mean I could have been involved with the attacks. Perhaps I can convince you to keep this among us.
So you really don't know anything about the attacks? Is that what you're claiming?
Of course. Do I look like I'm in any position to do what you're describing? So I'd very much appreciate your agreement to not share what you found. We wouldn't want anyone else jumping to conclusions now, would we?
Sorry, but I'm telling Cabinet what we learned. Consider this your chance to come clean.
You know, you're far more clever than I expected. You want to hear the words, then? I did it. The Terramorph attacks on Tau Ceti, New Atlantis, my doing. Years of coordination between my associate and I, figuring out how to deploy the Lazarus plant's pollen outside of Londinian, learning to synthesize it, use it as a weapon. Now, being as clever as you are, I'm sure you have thoughts on why I might do such a thing.
Associates, who have you been working with?
All in due time. First, I want to see if you're truly as astute as you appear. So why would someone like me go through all this trouble?
No better way to show the UC what a deadly weapon they have in the Lazarus plant than to use it.
Not a bad thought. But no. The attacks were a correction. When I discovered the plant, I did consider handing over what I'd found, but we were at war. And I couldn't risk information that dangerous falling into the wrong hands. So I ordered the bombing of the Londinian spaceport, fixing two problems at once. Halting the spread of the city's Terramorph outbreak, and sealing away knowledge of the plant's potential.
You didn't even trust your own people in the UC?
These were the final days of the colony war, Captain. The Freestar Collective had spies everywhere. I was concerned that if word got out, the Collective could swoop down, start breeding Lazarus plants, and overrun our worlds with waves of Terramorphs. Just like what was happening on Londinian at that very moment. Sealing off the city to prevent mass death? It was the only option that made sense at the time.
You just said it took you years to use the plant outside Londinian. You killed them for nothing.
Simple to say now, but with the outbreak raging from a barely understood source, the moment demanded quick action. So I did what was required. I removed a dangerous variable from an already catastrophic war. But then, as the war ended, my trial, my execution, I made a decision. After all, I'd given everything for the colonies. My life as I knew it included. And what did I get in return? Was there any effort by the UC to protect my legacy? My daughter's legacy? No. We were sacrificed when all we did was serve. So I kept what I'd learned and arranged the attacks to set things right again. My daughter, she becomes a hero. I become a trusted advisor, having found Kaiser, the research team, and cement my new position of influence when I hand them the name of the person responsible for the attack on New Atlantis. The dear departed Dr. Reginald Orlays, the associate who aided me all these years, and whom I always slated to take the fall. What luck he was stopped dead before he could hurt anyone else. His decades on the run brought to an end by another unlikely hero. You.
And why the hell do you care if the UC want you as an advisor?
Why would I want to be in the good graces of the people who control my very life? I don't know, Captain. Maybe I still dream of a life outside these walls someday. A new face would be needed, of course, but it wasn't an impossibility. Though now, I'm not so sure.
How could you have coordinated all this from here?
It wasn't easy. But the beauty of being loathed is that people will do whatever they can not to deal with you. They wanted to pretend I didn't exist. And so I used their blind eye to my advantage. Still, establishing a back channel to Orlays via the UC recovery teams was painstaking work. I've led campaigns less nerve-wracking. They believed they were luring in wanted criminals, but were in fact delivering precisely encoded slates, filled with instructions invisible to any but their recipient, dropped off at just the right moments to fall into the proper hands, all without the UC realizing whom you were actually dealing with. Slow work. But as you can see, ultimately effective.
Orlay? Why does that name sound familiar?
Can't remember the many lives you've taken. Orlays was the man whose death you brought about around the moon of Etheria, the pilot of the Warlock, the man I had to eliminate, to hide my secret.
Ah, so I'm just your cleanup crew. You must think you're very clever.
Captain, please. You've benefited here as much as I have. Maybe more. It's why I had Orlays reprogram Kaiser. Had that old machine guide you to where I found the plant all those years ago. I went to great lengths to ensure your and Hadrian's success. And look at the results. I know for a fact the Cabinet's planning to honor both you and Hadrian once this is all done. Isn't that preferable to languishing away in obscurity? Running jobs on the tail end of nowhere for the Vanguard? With only the vague hopes of perhaps earning the right to buy a home in the well someday.
What kind of honors are we talking here?
Something befitting the dedication to the colonies you two have shown. While of course they can't give you a command, responsibility like that has to be earned. The Cabinet does have access to considerable resources. I expect you'll be quite pleased with the result, and none of it would have happened without my intervention.
If you're waiting for me to say thank you, we're gonna be here for a while.
I'm simply looking for you to acknowledge the truth. And let's not forget the importance of our actual endgame. Eliminating the Terramorphs. Securing knowledge of the Lazarus plant. What we've set in motion is going to protect thousands, maybe millions of lives. I'm simply requesting one more life be protected. Mine. I've already sent along the evidence of Orlays' role in the attacks to the Cabinet, leaving out my own involvement. All I ask is that you confirm as much to the Cabinet. Tell them that it was Orlays and Orlays alone. After all, I do still have a long list of threats to the UC. This needn't be the end of our good works together.
What kind of work are we talking about here?
Hunting down criminals and other threats to the United Colonies. I expect they'll give me a bit more free range once this is all over. You would help me, like you did with Orlays. Track them down and keep them from doing harm to the United Colonies. Impossible, though, if the Cabinet learns I'm the one responsible for the attacks.
You think I'm just going to forget the fact that you kill people to accomplish your good works?
And how many have you killed to get where you are now?
A lot.
There are no great works that don't cost lives, Captain. Whether it's winning a war or digging a tram tunnel. So we sacrificed a few dozen in the attacks to possibly protect millions. That seems like a fair exchange to me. I only hope you'll see the same and leave my name out of the discussions to come.
Fine.
Splendid. Then I won't keep you. You've got important work, after all. Here's to a bright future.
I am going to side with him this time.
Authorized personnel only. Your friend has to stay
I didn't
here.
know what to make of you at first. Back in action.
That was not what I wanted to do.
Perfect timing. We just got in. So on our end, good news. The microbe and the Asylees are both as effective against heat leeches as they are against terramorphs.
Means either plan should work for clearing those critters off our worlds.
Considering what the Lazarus plant is capable of, I don't think we can deal with those things fast enough. I already sent along info to the cabinet to get them up to speed. So what about your end? Did you find anything? Any leads on who might have committed the attacks?
It was a man named Dr. Reginald Orlay. He perpetrated the attacks.
Orlays? Reginald Orlays? He did this? I didn't think he was still alive. You're sure it was him?
You knew Orlay?
Oh yeah. Both worked for UC Defense Research way back when. Different departments, but everyone knew Orlays. Had a mean eye for weapons tech. And a meaner temper. Wasn't exactly a surprise when he fled instead of standing trial after the colony war. But finding out he's taken up mass murder in the years since, that is a shock. You're sure about this?
Positive. The evidence is on its way to cabinet as we speak.
That's some impressive work. So then give us the rundown. Where's Orlays now? Were you able to bring him in?
I tried, but he took his own life instead of coming peacefully.
I'm sorry to hear that. Those sorts of missions are always tough. Any idea why he might have done it? Or what he was doing with the plant?
He thought he was doing the right thing, making sure no one could ignore the Lazarus plant.
Another madman justifying butchery. Well, at least he won't be able to hurt anybody else now. Might be the best we could ask for, given the circumstances. So I guess there's nothing else to do but get this all in front of the cabinet. Unless there were other things we needed to discuss. This might be our last opportunity to talk things through before the cabinet weighs in on a decision regarding the terramorphs.
What kind of risk are there if we decide to bring back the Athales?
Asylees aren't hostile to humans, but they are megafauna. If someone decides to pick a fight with one, it could get ugly. But they've already been spread far and wide once before when the UC was raising them as livestock, so the risk of introducing them to new worlds is minimal. Using them to clean up the terramorphs and leeches, though, it's not going to be nearly as expedient as the microbe would be. Given what we know now about the Lazarus plant, the speed of the job does matter. But going with the Asylees, we're at least dealing with known risks.
So both methods to clearing out our worlds are effective against the heat leeches?
They are.
Microbe needed minimal adjustment to account for heat leech anatomy.
And the Asylees seem like they're even better at tracking leeches than morphs.
Hell of a sight to watch, though, when they catch them. Like an open airlock guzzling angry spaghetti.
Which method of dealing with the terramorphs are you two leaning towards?
Microbe is gonna make the cleanup a whole lot quicker. If we're concerned about this Lazarus plant getting deployed again, that's the way to go.
The cabinet can secure the Lazarus plant, and then we're not risking any surprises when it comes to dealing with a microbe.
You're being paranoid. You know the science. You know we can make this safe.
I do know the science. I also know math. And a 1 in a million chance of a mutation isn't 0. So I guess we're still in discussion.
1 in a million?
Probably
against
best at this
microbes,
point to
which
let the
multiply
cabinet
by the
see if they have
billions
a preference.
per second, probably. Yeah, I'm not for that, man. Nothing else on my end. Let's head in there.
And here we go.
Damn.
Welcome back, all of you. I wish we were meeting under better circumstances. But according to Hadrian's report, and the second one I just received, it seems the Terramorph attack on New Atlantis was no random occurrence, but a planned strike. Is what I'm reading here true?
Is that... Oh, okay, I'm not gonna ask that. Yes, but don't worry, we found the culprit.
The second report claims to know the perpetrator as well. Did Reginald Orlais actually commit these attacks, Captain?
Yes, it was Orlais.
That appears to be the case, ma'am. The captain tracked that information down just after our trip to Londinian.
Reginald Orlais? Wasn't there a report he'd been killed recently?
Body was found floating around Etheria. Report mentioned you were sent to try and bring him in, Captain. I guess that didn't go according to plan.
Ah, yes. I was told about your mission and who ordered it. Did you two suspect at the time Orlais might have been involved in the attacks?
No idea, ma'am. We just thought we were dealing with a known criminal.
Well, it appears you were ahead of the curve. This report contains definitive evidence Orlais triggered the attacks via this Lazarus plant the Captain and Major Sanan uncovered.
Simply heroin.
Indeed. Though it would have been preferable for him to have finally faced the UC's justice. It seems both of you are to be commended for ensuring he was dealt with before he could strike again. You have our thanks. Now, with our villain unmasked, we can attend to the other matters at hand. With the threads you've brought together here, the Lazarus plant, the attacks, the heat leeches, the three of you have likely spared thousands of lives. But it now falls to the cabinet to ensure this can never happen again. As such, the cabinet will be securing the Lazarus plant on Londinian. All materials related to the plant will be classified to ensure no one else learns its true nature.
A sound decision, Madam President.
What sorts of measure the UC will be taking protecting the Lazarus plant?
Well, luckily the natural hostility of Londinian makes keeping out trespassers relatively easy. But we'll ensure its growth is contained, that access to the plant is only permitted via highly regulated clearances, and that our troop presence on Londinian is increased.
Security in the plant is enough. It should be wiped out.
We're already discussing the elimination of one species, Captain. Explain to me why you wish to eliminate another.
I'm shocked that you don't want to destroy it. Is the UC planning to keep it for themselves?
I'm not sure I like what you're suggesting. The UC's only plan is to protect lives. Though, I won't discount that perhaps your proposal could get us closer to that goal. So, explain to me your thinking in destroying the plant.
Hard for anyone to commit new attacks with the plant if we erase any trace of it.
Yeah, agreed. Time to go weed whacking with a vengeance.
And with Orles having been dealt with, this problem can end here.
And allow us to focus on the grander task to come. Very well. We'll clean up the plant. Thank you for the suggestion, Captain. So then, to our final topic. The Cabinet has agreed to implement a plan that will deal with the Terramorph, and now also Heat Leech presence on human worlds. In fact, we've already begun enacting measures to check all UC ports and settlements for undiscovered nests. But we all understand this is only a partial solution. The project we're embarking on will be a long and difficult one. So our first step must be deciding how exactly this all will be handled.
Madam President, this microbe is clearly too much of a risk. The Aseles are the safer approach.
To someone with limited knowledge of biology, perhaps. The technology behind the microbe is solved science, Madam President. It isn't dangerous. Using it to wipe out the Terramorphs would be the quickest path to protecting humanity.
And fast results always lead to the best outcomes, don't they?
As you can see, there remains debate among the Cabinet. We were hoping your group might issue a recommendation. Major?
We've been having similar debates ourselves, but the Captain has yet to weigh in.
I see. Captain, I know this may not be your area of expertise, but we'd like to know your take on the matter.
Do we need to discuss anything? Shouldn't destroying the Lazarus plant be sufficient?
I believe we have a responsibility to do something, yes. Heavens forbid, years from now someone reopens the Pandora's box that Orles discovered. It falls to us to enact every measure required to ensure that day never comes.
Deploying the SLEs is the safest route. That's my vote.
I'm in full agreement. No need be delving into unpredictable sciences.
I expect my evening constitutionals are about to become a whole lot more eventful.
Hardly. You may just have a little more company than before.
Order, please. And Major Sinan? Dr. Walker, you'd find this acceptable?
We trust the Captain's judgment.
Then the matter is settled. We'll begin the process immediately. Today marks day one for the United Colonies Terramorph Management Division. making you three the founding members of the TMD. As befits such a group, the cabinet wanted to display its gratitude. Today, we will be adding 3 new Class 1 citizens to our ranks.
Class 1? For the 3 of us? Are you joking?
What he means to say is, thank you, ma'am.
Oh, yeah. Thank you, ma'am.
What's a Class 1 citizen?
It's a status reserved only for those who've dedicated their lives to the United Colonies, or done great things for its cause. Class 1s enjoy an ample credit disbursement, an additional reduction on the cost of colonial goods. And I'm told the penthouse is rather impressive.
So long as I'm getting paid, I'm happy.
Then I expect you'll be quite pleased. Now, there's much to be done. Major Sanan, Dr. Walker, I hope you two are willing to continue your efforts spearheading the TMD's research on Mars.
We'd be honored, ma'am.
As for you, Captain, the Vanguard will be providing much of the on-the-ground support for the TMD. As a member of both the Vanguard and the TMD, I believe you'll have your pick of duties. Speak to your commander, Tuala, if I recall correctly. He should be able to provide you with assignments going forward, plus help you collect the benefits that come with being named Class 1. On behalf of the whole of the United Colonies, you have our sincerest gratitude. This meeting is adjourned.
Captain, I guess we've got our assignments. I just wanted to say, I could have never guessed where all this was going to lead. But what you've done for Percival, for me, for everyone, well, there aren't words to express how grateful I am.
Then let's keep going. Come with me.
You know I can't do that. I've got an assignment. But I wouldn't be upset if you came by the HQ every now and then. Remind me how much I owe you.
Just glad I was able to help.
Well, I think it's safe to say you succeeded beyond anyone's wildest dreams. It's been an honor, Captain. Good luck out there.
All right.
executioner. So the cabinet knows the truth about Orlais. Splendid. That means you and I can get to work.
If anyone is going to know this, it's you. Why did the UC lose the colony war?
I'll tell you why. Because the UC was, and is, full of people unwilling to pay the price required for victory. In the last days of the war, the UC was on the precipice of executing a final great assault on the Freestar Collective home system of Cheyenne. A massive strike, capable of obliterating Freestar Central Command and ending the conflict at long last.
Why wait so long? Why not just knock out their leadership early and be done with it?
I thought I'd had myself. But such invasions are costly, in resources and lives. Others in the UC believed the blockade would be sufficient to bring the Freestar Collective to its knees. But they were wrong. So instead, they sacrificed far more lives in a protracted war, rather than doing the right thing from the start, and demolishing the Freestar capital when they have the chance.
I'm guessing things didn't go according to plan.
You'd be right. Everything was in place. But just before we could launch the strike, word came from Londinian. The Terramorph outbreak had begun. I went to the city to assess the state of things, and discovered the Lazarus plant. We couldn't spare ships for a proper quarantine, so it was my decision to destroy the spaceport and seal off the city. Deal with it quickly, so we could get back to winning the war.
If you were able to get in, why couldn't the citizen of Londinian get out?
I had a single ship. What would you have had me do? Ask them and the Terramorphs to form a line, and the UC fleet was spread thin already. No, I touched down, assessed the situation, made a decision, and returned to the task at hand.
Sacrificing one city to save others? I suppose you can see logic there.
It seemed a simple choice. So upon my return from Londinian, we proceeded with our killing blow. Initially, we had great success against the mess the Freestar Collective called the Navy. But then the Freestar citizenry decided to get involved. Dozens of civilian ships jumping in to shield their military counterparts. I, of course, had no trouble firing on what should have been designated enemy vessels. But my peers had lost the stomach for it. So many lives lost already, they wailed. So the great UC Navy was routed by a mob. They picked our ships apart. The UC surrendered not long after. And thus rang the death knell for the great UC.
Your planning seems down, just a bad roll of dice, I guess.
That's one way of putting it. But yes, bad luck. And weak subordinates.
I want to ask, during the outbreak, why not try to evacuate Londinian? Why blow up a spaceport?
We were in the middle of an all-out war, Captain. Committing ships to save the city would have left another undefended. Which city would you prefer I'd sacrificed? Sidonia? Gagarin? New Atlantis? And if anyone else had learned about the Lazarus plant, well, the risk was too great. I weighed the options and made the call.
How on earth do you manage to deploy the Lazarus plant on New Atlantis?
Once we'd cracked synthesizing the Lazarus plant's pollen, research that took years in and of itself, the attacks were exceedingly simple. Orlaze's ship would land on our target, bearing a few heat leeches. Nothing that would raise suspicion. Then Lazarus pollen was pumped out of the ship during liftoff from the planet's surface. Shortly thereafter, an attack. A strike perpetrated in mere moments, with no one being the wiser.
Let's talk about this work.